Now up next, we're going to take a look inside one of my personal favorite places in Colorado. It's called Blindworm Guitars, and it's an imaginative custom instrument shop owned by two very cool people.
Kelly and Andrew Scott use their storefront to showcase a magical array of instruments and other creations. Their most recent invention is the Mindbender. I've heard of this thing. It's a musical instrument that virtually anyone can play. Check it out.
There are no rules when it comes to playing the Mindbender. It requires no formal music training.
You just kind of listen to what you're doing, and you can pick out melodies and songs.
A sound as unique as this one has to come from a pretty creative space.
Welcome to Blindworm Guitars, where shop owners Kelly and Andrew Scott let their imaginations lead the way.
It all started decades ago when Andrew was growing up in Oklahoma, dreaming of an artistic vocation.
I was just always creating stuff out of, everything.
Moving to Colorado in 2002 turned out to be the perfect decision. Leaving his old life behind, Andrew built a new world in Colorado Springs, starting with an entertainment center.
It was huge, and it looked kind of like an Asian temple. As I was building it, I remember at one point I ran and jumped up into the big TV cavity of it, and I thought, maybe I could do this for a living. At some point, my sister had asked me to make her a lamp out of some broken instruments or something. And so I started hunting all of these broken instruments from, thrift stores and things. And every time I would get them, I would say, well, I can't just waste this, and I'd fix them and I'd make them work. And then I just ended up having all these instruments and no lamp.
Then he met Kelly.
I really like whimsy and draw upon my experiences growing up. I use a lot of that for my sculptures and that type of art. So this one was my Valentine for Andy this year. She booty shakes.
Is this anyone in particular?
It's kind of like me, but...
One of the great things about this space that Kelly and I have put together is that we've created just a great lab, if you will, to invent and work with new things. It's just great to have another creative person to bounce ideas off and to be inspired.
The rest is history. Together, Andrew and Kelly are the reason Blindworm Guitars is the creative imagination center in town.
I realized that I had this great shop of all these tools and all this knowledge, and I'd already done a lot of carving and precision woodworking and inlay work and kind of all the elements to building instruments. So I started making some for myself for fun, and right away I started getting custom orders from friends and people around town. And within probably a year from that, I had decided, okay, I'm moving into this music business side of it. It just always felt right.
This is the Manticore 7 that, God, it's at least a couple years now since I walked out of here with this one. And so this to me is the quintessential heavy metal guitar. 7 strings, red, horns. Looks like it might steal your soul. And that's what I wanted.
The Scotts source their building materials as locally as possible. Some even have family roots.
The bird's eye maple came from a table my great-grandfather built over 100 years ago, and it got damaged, and I saved all the wood. This one here is a custom piece I made for a good friend of mine. That it's a full acoustic guitar, but it also has magnetic, piezo, and MIDI components. So you can hook it up to a computer processor and make it sound like a trumpet or anything you want, really. We select wood here in town, and then we glue up sort of these blocks of chunks of wood that are then kind of roughed out on a bandsaw. And then we attach a pattern and then run them through a big router and then some other smaller routers until we end up with something a lot more refined. We rat out cavities and drill the holes for all the equipment, and then we put in the inlay, which we're currently cutting all that with the laser cutter. And then they go through a process of clear coating. Then we go to the assembly process. Our pick guards and all that stuff we make with patterns that we cut out on our laser cutter. Of course, you have the relief in the neck, which allows you to get that full amount of tension that you're bending the strings in. And that's really crucial to the design of this. Also, the shape of it has to do with how it sits on your knee, how it hangs on a strap, or how it can sit on your leg this way too. Everybody does something different.
Back to that sound generated through this Eastern-inspired stringed instrument and created right here in Colorado Springs. Through 15 years of invention and the patenting process, the Mindbender is staged to be Blindworm's most popular order.
A lot of it had to do with wanting to create things and sounds and ways to play that weren't out there. Japan has the koto, China has the guzheng, Vietnam had the dan trans, and they all rely on having a string from anywhere from 1 to 20 of them or so, and using slight amounts of bending to create different sounds out of it and change the pitch a little bit. And of course, you can do all kinds of weird sound effecty type stuff. There's just an endless number of things you can do with it. Gives us a huge future of who knows what we're going to do.
Well, there's no wrong way to play the Mindbender.
No, that's right. It's pretty much the Reese's of the music world. Blindworm Guitars also showcases work from over a dozen other local instrument makers. It is truly worth a special trip, especially if you're an instrument nerd.
Like Kate is, and we all know it. And if you can't make it in person, you can still see their creations at blindwormguitars.com.